giving you not 3, not 5, 12 really powerful tips which you can derive from this card. The card 5 of Pentacles, how to actually find your soul purpose. It is really interesting to really start seeing deeper into each and every card, and every tarot card proposes ours like that tremendous value if we start looking at it deeper. My name is Yulia. I've been in tarot world for 10 plus years, and I'm here to unveil all these hidden truths for you. If you love my channel, subscribe to it. I'm coming here live here and there, so not to miss it. Let's stay connected. So let's have a look at this card specifically. So the first thing first, this is the card of transition. And this is the card when we start acknowledging that inner void. The feeling that something is missing isn't failure. It's your soul signaling that you are meant for something more. The 5 of Pentacles actually reveals that emptiness is often the first whisper of your higher calling. It's that moment when you start feeling that something is not happening right, something is not right. It's kind of like that, you know, that sensation. Everything was good. It was good. You were sitting like in that safe position, but it just stopped feeling good. It stopped feeling right. It's the beginning. It's the start of that awakening. It's the start of that deep inner calling, inner void, that transitory period, which is so amazing from one perspective, but for many, it's like you start looking into that inner void and into that abyss, and you don't know what to do with that. So that is just the invitation to that, through that card. That's what we can see here. Now, it's very important to embrace that sacred pause. And that's what this card is inviting us to do when we start discovery of our soul purpose. So first we acknowledge that inner void. We acknowledge that period, that temporary winter season. But guess what we are doing next? We start that embrace. We embrace that season. That's what we do. We embrace that sacred pause into our nature. The periods of disconnect or being left out in this cold world, this is just something sacred. This is sacred pause into this world. That's how we want to feel. And this is an important step. And when we embrace it in the correct way, this what will allow us to start feeling who we truly are. So first, we acknowledge it and we embrace it. We are not hiding from it. We are not really beaten by it. We are not going into that stage feeling like people on crutches, right? So that's not what we are doing. We really start feeling that union with this spirit. That's what we do, okay? And that is the step what we want to do during this period. And we start that release of all the shame around all the struggles. So that's step number 3, okay? So once we embraced that season, that winter, okay, that calling, because I tell you, once that awakening is happening in everyone's life, it's just like looking into the abyss. You don't know what you are doing here. It's just like, hey, knock, knock. What you are doing here? What are you doing here? Right? And that is that winter. So when that awakening is coming, you start experiencing headaches, you start experiencing that dizzy period. It's just literally that unpleasantness which steps into your life. Before, it was pleasant. It was that 4 of Pentacles period. It was all stable. It was pleasant. Now it got to unpleasantness, and you don't know what to do with that unpleasantness. But again, the first step is just to acknowledge, and then the second is to embrace Embrace that void which is opening up in front of you. And third, you start releasing the shame around all the struggles which you are experiencing, around everything what you had done, what you hadn't done. You just start that shadow work. Okay, you really start it. And this is the pathway on that awakening process. And this is so-called like that detoxification. Okay, so this is not just only physical detox, it comes through your etheric body detox, your astral body detox, your mental body detox. That's what's happening. So, and it's really like, I remember how I had been going through all these period. There were lots and lots of cleanse is happening through that period. Okay, it's not a period of going into the mode of eating and just celebrating something. That's not a period. That's a period of cleanse. In fact, that's what we do. And we turn inward, not outward. We actually shut down on some level from the world to do that inner work. Because the world is cold, we do that inner work because guess what? We get prepared to share next. We do that in the work, and then we will grow into that sharing. This will be already in the next stage when we start raising, we start being seen in the world. But we first need to go through this period, and that's all right. That's okay. That's identification of your spiritual gifts. That's identification of your pathway. That's actually one of the foundations how you build a really healthy business. If you want just to start a really powerful spiritual business, the first step in the roadmap, and that's what I'm teaching, it is to identify your spiritual gifts. That's what it is the foundation of. It's basically, if you don't set up the foundation right, what is happening? If the foundation is not right, the house which you will build will not be right. It will be a tough life. Nothing good will happen out of it. That's when you chase some rich money schemes, doing something what you don't love doing. No. You don't really serve anyone here, not yourself, not others. So in any healthy business model, you actually start the foundation from identifying your talents, your spiritual talents. If you are like that healer or spiritual giver here, right? So you identify them. You become that joyful giver. You need to extract what are those gifts, all right? So let's look at this card in more details as well. What else can we see? So we turn inward. We don't go now outward. And we honor the lessons of some lack and desperations. We honor them. We don't hide from them. We are not beaten by them. We will not be beggars. We honor them because we know that these stories will become our inventory of stories once we start sharing the abundance next, which will come to us. That's how we do it. All right. Do you know through how much bullshit I came through my life in the beginning, more than 10 years ago when I was in my 9-to-5 in corporate world, before I started my business? This was a huge like hole for me, out of which I didn't know how I can really get out of there. So I became the manager of a really like pretty decent department in credit analysis in a big insurance company. But guess what's happening? I was living in the city center, enjoying my lonely life of that city girl, but I was feeling like nothing really amazing happened. That's when I started looking in the abyss. Because it was just like, so what? So what? I couldn't answer that question. And then my search started. That's when I started going inward, not outward. And that's when I started honoring the lesson that when I had it all, in fact, I had nothing. I started feeling like a pure failure. Okay, having it, having nothing. It's just like the story of the world which was told to me that it's a success to really climb the ladder, the corporate ladder, And I just like, okay, I am there. I'm successful manager now. What's next? But then I couldn't answer the question, what's next? So then when I started really letting pain become my teacher. So you want to let that pain become your teacher. That winter which starts into your soul, you don't negate it. You don't negate it. You let it to become your teacher. Okay? Your teacher is that winter of your soul. Because after you heal it, the season of spring will come naturally. And you will start planting the seeds for something new, good, beautiful, and truthful to come into your life. That's when you naturally mature into these Six of Pentacles, right? When you will be able to start raising your voice, really start growing, identifying your ideal client, people whom you can serve, and you can share your spiritual gifts, right? It's not a side hustle. It is actually the spiritual serving activity. How is that? And that's what we go through when we see that card through awakening process. When we start step number 7, we start reclaiming your spiritual power. How do we do that? Well, this card reminds you that you are never truly alone. You connect with your higher self, with your spiritual guides, your divine source, to rediscover the power that lives within you. How many of you actually have your spirit guides? And this is the season. This is the season of that. When you actually understand you are never alone. Okay? You look into that abyss of loneliness and you understand, wait, you are not alone actually. So that's reconnectedness to who you truly are. That's the moment when you can really embrace that meeting with your spirit guides. Okay? Those of you who already are connected, you already passed through that step. Step number 8, you identify what breaks your heart. That's a heart healing period. It's basically your soul purpose is hidden in the very things that hurt. And then you actually heal that hurt. And then you can share the gift from that hurt to the world. Okay? So all the spiritual healers, they actually came here through lots of hurt. And why it is required? Because we need to share the story to help others who come through the same stories, right? So, and you will see how many spiritual healers here, who are true spiritual healers and not just some blasphemy, they really come through lots of stuff. It was not the ideal childhood or ideal life, and you can sense it through what they speak. There was a reason why they came through that, okay? So what else do we see in this card? What else do we see? Let's look at it together. We see that darkness, but we stop being afraid of that darkness. We stop being afraid of darkness. Because guess what? We start perceiving darkness as initiation, the beginning. We start perceiving darkness as initiation. The one who sees through all the fears and darkness is not fearful. Did you ever think about that? And that card teaches us that. This card is tremendously powerful. It allows us to see it. That's why you can see that really like the combination of dark and light. I am not afraid of darkness anymore. I embraced it. To work with this world, you need to embrace darkness. Otherwise, fear will eat your etheric body, your energy. You need to embrace darkness to stay firm into this world and work with it. If you want to get out of this world, you will get out very quickly. It will help you. No. We are light workers. We came here to work with this world. We embrace darkness. We see through it. We are really confident in how we work with this world. All right? And we do it in a really playful way. We do it in a joyful way, and we spread that light, that positivity, that beauty right around us. That's what we do. That's what we came here to do as light workers. And that is one of the steps in that initiation process. Remember, cosmos is dark, right? So, and the hidden secrets are there. So we embrace it, and behind all the darkness, we see that pure light. Because guess what? Behind everything is actually that light. But we need to see that. We need to go through that. We need to see through all the fears. And that is the period when we start that process of seeing. Step number 10, we seek the meaning in all the mess and chaos around us. There is mess, there is chaos outside, but we know there is a meaning and order. The meaning and order is in here, and we can see it. The meaning and order still exists. We know it, and this card invites us for that. This card reminds us, hey, even in the times of deep chaos, there is still order. There is still order, beloved one. There is still perfection, okay? We can still see it. Blessed be those who can see in the times of chaos, in the times when nothing is seen. So that's what we are, and that's what we do. How is that? So that light, that inner light of code of perfection and consistency, no matter what happens here, outside, we bring with us. Step number 11, we let purpose arise through service, even small acts of kindness and connection, especially during our own difficult times, can start to reveal how we are meant to serve, how we are meant to impact this world. We don't go through the person who is beggar. We don't judge them. We just help them, okay? Because they are on their crutches. We are with our own crutches, right? So crutches. So it's just like we stop that critical judgment. We start that fear judgment, meaning I see you. I see that you fell down, dear beautiful soul, but I'm still with you. I respect you, all right? And in the next life, or maybe in here, you still have a chance. How can I help you? That's the attitude you have to people around you. And this card is inviting us to that attitude, enlarging the zone of our care to others. Not like, this is my area of responsibility and this is your area of responsibility, and behind it, I will not step in. No, my whole world becomes my area of responsibility. How is that? That heart, warm-heartedness, that's what we develop. That's what we develop through this period when everything is crazy around. In our heart, there is that order. There is this beauty and order. That's what we develop. So step number 12, we trust that purpose is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. It's a transitory period. And your soul purpose isn't a one-time discovery. It's not something what we were supposed to find. I'm still right now getting so many assignments, right? So I get the assignment and I'm living based on assignment of my soul. I'm not questioning those assignments, I'm just doing them, okay? So once you get connected truly to your soul, you live based on assignments, that assignment-based living. And that's a transitory period. You just start practicing eternity here. That's what you do. How is that? So this card is inviting us for that type of understanding. And this is how I wanted to finish today's meeting with you. Because once you start perceiving that soul searching as practicing eternity, invitation to practice in eternity here, you will see much deeper beyond that abyss, beyond the suffering of looking into the abyss. You will see that there is tremendous enjoyment in that journey. You just shift that perspective. You shift that perspective from really taking that destination. I tell you, if you are in the destination mode, it's still in here. The mind is ruling you. We want to step beyond the mind. That's why tarot cards are so amazing. They just open us up all the codes. We just need to see deeper. And once we see deeper, we can see how we can enliven our souls, how we can get back to that true connectedness to our cosmic design and start living based on it and not based on limitations of this and the demands of it. How is that? So I hope that you loved this all. Subscribe to my channel if you really enjoyed it. I go live here and there, so not to miss it out. Let's stay connected. Give me a thumbs up. It really supports me to show you all this information. And thank you so much. Let me see if I have any questions. Okay. So six, any guidance for me. I didn't understand, Shalu, what you meant. Well, anyway, if you have questions, type them here. I will answer everyone for sure, guys. Thank you so much. Love you. Bye-bye.